The Awakening, a Jake Sully story. A blinding flash, so bright it covered his entire vision. Then, emptiness. It probably only lasted a second, but it felt too long. Deeper than the deepest sleep, but not quite death. Then, awareness. Jake opened his eyes. Faces stared at him. Vivid colours, the sharpest he had ever seen them. Where was he? This wasn't the tank. He raised his hands. They were huge, and blue. So it had worked. Dr. Augustine said it would, but even then, he hadn't quite believed her. Something felt different. Not just giant blue hands different. Wait, his legs. They worked. He flexed his toes. They moved. His massive alien toes moved. He had to stand, to test them. The doctors began to raise their voices at him, but he ignored them. He hadn't stood up in years. Standing was all that mattered. After so long, being upright felt just as alien as his new body. He swayed, leaning on the bed for support. Focus, he told himself, as he tensed the muscles in his legs. He found his balance. The tiny people around him were panicking now. "I got this," he said. He saw a movement out the corner of his eye, something that waved when he turned. He had a tail! He swished his hips, and the tail knocked over a few delicate instruments on a table. He ignored them too. This place was too small. He needed to be outside, to perform a real test. He needed to run. He stumbled around, searching for a way out. Dr. Patel's voice rang out as the man stared at him through the lab window. "This is dangerous," he said. "This is great," Jake replied. He turned towards the door and shoved it open, and was met with another door. He burst through it and squinted as his eyes adjusted to natural light for the very first time. 2 other avatars were playing basketball in front of him. He picked up speed and began jogging across the compound, tripping over sandbags and barely avoiding several people. Once the way was clear, he fell into a sprint, racing towards the forest's edge in front of him. He was running again. He could barely believe it. When he reached the tree line, he stopped, digging his toes into the soft soil. He took a deep breath and felt the cleanest air he could ever remember rushing through his system. He could get used to this.